All right, welcome guys, and I'm kind of laughing a little bit because Gideon and I were discussing what we're going to discuss about in the show, and then he started to get on a rant, and then which is my favorite thing is when Gideon gets on a rant because his rants are awesome, and he was like, "Yeah, let's just start the show." So all I'm going to say for an introduction is welcome to episode 7. It's awesome to be at episode 7. Go join our group if you haven't already because you're missing out on like 75% of the awesomeness of the Entrepreneurs Roundtable. And let's jump right into it. So we're talking about social networks. And Gideon, you were just saying that like you're not really like a huge social network fan, that it's mostly your friends, and like you actually are kind of annoyed at sometimes about how people will add for no reason or whatever. So why don't you pick back up with that?
Yeah, so I was saying, I have like about maybe 450 friends, probably. It's probably a little high that I'm counting, but like half of them like are just people that I met in, the entrepreneur group or other groups that I'm part of, or just like people finding me because we have mutual friends within another business group. But like what really pisses me off is like when people add me as friends and I'm like, oh, I see we have a lot of mutual friends, right? So like I accept the friend requests and they never say anything ever. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that. If I'm going to add somebody as a friend, then I'm going to send a message like, hey, I read this and this and this, blah, blah, blah. Or like, hey, you're a copywriter too. Like, do you have any tips or resources? Like something, right? To start building a relationship. Otherwise, why add me as a friend?
Yeah, I think the whole idea there, it's like, and it's not a very good mindset, but it's like, okay, I need to add as many people as possible. And then when I go to promote something, if I have 1,000 friends I've added, they're all going to like it and interact with it and share it. And really no, because like if you had 100, let's say you had, 100 friends, for some reason you don't have your family as friends. You just have 100 like close followers, people who are either like mutual business people. I'm going to use comic book, for example, because I'll have a story about that later. So let's say you're in the comic book industry and you have like only 100 friends on, we'll just use Facebook for now. And they all are either like other comic book artists, writers, or like people who actually like your brand. So they're like really, really highly engaged. And to me, that would be much more valuable than 1,000 just random artists and writers and stuff and people who like are interested in comic books that you've added. Because when you go to publish like let's say your new book, if you have 100 people who are either really good friends with you, or worst case scenario, like don't know you that well, but like kind of respect what you do, and then you've got we're just crazy fans, right? Like those 100 people are going to be able to share your new issue or whatever it is you're doing out there like really well if they all are interacting and like resharing and like, hey, my friend or this guy or this awesome thing, versus like 1,000 people and you put it out there and then it's like you get like those like 3 likes and nothing, no shares, no comments, no nothing.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't understand the point of like friending all these people when you're not going to interact with them. Because even so, like, if there's zero interaction, like you're not going to see their stuff in your feed, right?
Yeah, not very likely. And then you forget you added them or you accepted them, and then like they'll randomly post on something, and you're like, who is this person, and why are they like commenting on like my political post or whatever? Which I kind of try to stay away from those kind of things because I would have that happen. And like if I post something that's like not what I normally do, like I have kind of like a pretty strict vertical of what I normally post about, and then there's like family stuff, right? And then so if I post something like outside of that vertical, like people will like comment on it, and I'm like, who is this person? Like, oh, I am friends with them. I don't remember this. What's going on?
It's just as bad as spam or those email lists that you subscribe to, and then you don't hear from them for like 6 months, a year, whatever, and then all of a sudden you're getting this crazy ass email from them, and you're like, I don't remember signing up for this at all. Like I've been getting that a lot. I think I'm getting added to a lot of email lists.
Me too, man. Like, in fact, let's take a second and just it's slightly different but really we're talking about social networks, and in the purpose of this conversation, we're not talking about like keeping up, Nana updated on like the kids, right? We're talking about using social networks to gain an audience and even specifically to gain leads and sales. So let's take a second because I'm kind of annoyed with some email stuff right now. Like I feel like there's a trend going on right now, just like you said, and I've been seeing it from other people in other groups. Like it's really getting popular all of a sudden to go through and just start adding people to your list from like other stuff. Like they find like on LinkedIn or like I remember I'll do a quick story and then I'll let you jump into your thing. I was going through and like I've been doing a couple times, but this one time in particular, I was getting these emails. They were business related, but it was like, that's like saying like two people are religious, so we should be friends. Like one of them's like Greek Orthodox and one of them's like, you know, like head of the Satanic Church. Like, oh, well, we're both religious, so we should be able to be friends, right? Like it was so far on the opposite scale of business. And it was like that. It wasn't even MLM. It was like way below like even MLM. I can't remember what it was exactly. And I remember like getting these emails, and the guys, honestly, he sounded like he was like this 19-year-old, like spends his time at the gym, thinks he's awesome, used to be a high school football guy. I don't know if any of this is true, but this is the tone of his emails, right?
Bro.
Exactly. And it's very much like, oh, hey, you know, like, this is so awesome. Go check it out and go get like 13,000 followers on your thing, you know, with like in 10 minutes. And you know what he's saying is crap. And it's all about like, maybe if you followed what he did, you get a little bit of benefit, but ultimately it's him building out his thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, after like 3 emails, I was like, who is this guy? Like, I know, because I normally give the benefit of the doubt, like, who is this person? I probably signed up for it for something and then I never really, you know, whatever. But I was like, there's no way I signed up for this guy, because I can tell by the way he writes, I would have been so turned off on any of his copy or any of his videos. I don't care what he was offering. Like, I would, even if he was like, I will just sign up to my list and I will send you a $50 coupon, I'd be like, nah, I don't believe it. And there's probably some sort of whatever. Like, so I know I didn't sign up. So I go to unsubscribe, and I reported it as spam after what I saw. So it just happened to be one of those lists, because, you know, some of them will just be like, you know, like I think Infusionsoft says, do you want to report it as spam? Some of them will say like, which list do you want to be off of? Well, this particular one, it actually was in there, and it shows you like how you got onto the list.
Right.
Not that he does this, but his email service provider. And it showed on there, it said like opt-in method. It said manually added. So I was like, okay, so this guy literally found my email somewhere off of something, and then like just copied, like not even like a, you know, like it made the way it was like, it made it sound like he actually copied and pasted like specific emails, like he was on social networks, you know, not even like he had uploaded a file. I'm like, dude, like I was like so annoyed. So I reported it as spam, and I emailed him. I'm like, what the heck? And he was like, oh, well, you must have gotten on my list from, you know, one of my opt-ins on one of my landing pages. And I was like, no, I didn't. It's like, your thing showed me that you added me manually. He's like, nope, I don't do that. So if you're on my list, you had to have opted into one of my pages. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't pretend. Like, your own service provider literally told me that you added me manually, which, unless like you got my, like I wrote my stuff down for you at a conference and you added in, is, I believe, illegal as far as the spam laws. Yeah. He just would not acknowledge it. Like, he kept arguing that that he'd done it like the right way or whatever. And I was like, no, bro. No.
I'm surprised he even responded.
Yeah, a few times. But the great thing is, I love when they do that, because this is twice I've had it happen where someone just started spamming me, and I'll report it as spam, and then like I'll respond to them, and they keep arguing with me. So every time they reply, I'll report it as spam again. So instead of like one hit, they get like 3 or 4 hits of spam. I don't know if that makes a difference, because like
it should.
I think it does, but like it was actually, I know it does, because I actually worked with a client once, helping them set up their thing, and they actually got there. It was in MailChimp. And MailChimp's, you know, normally pretty good. I had one of my accounts frozen once when I was first getting started, and I was breaking rules. Actually, I should say breaking rules without knowing how to break them properly. Anyways, and she got hers suspended by one person who legally opted in. Like, it was, she opted in at like, because she knew this lady personally. Like, she opted in at like a event. She sold a physical product, and she was doing, it wasn't a car show, but it was like an actual, you know, she had a booth, and she met this lady, and the lady like signed up for her email list, and she sent out like 2 emails, no problem. On the 3rd email that she sent out, the lady got like super ticked off, which is one more reason, like, I think it's like one of the advantages of being in like the sales kind of market, because we understand like that we're going to be getting emailed, versus like if you're trying to sell like something else and people get ticked off when you start emailing them, like they didn't know that's what was going to happen after they got your free whatever.
Yeah.
And so she reported as spam, and she she like emailed MailChimp and said, I don't know why this lady's emailing me. I don't want her emails. I told her to stop, whatever. And so they actually shut her entire account down. She had to spend like a week, like back and forth, like explaining to MailChimp, no, this is what happened. Look, I have like, here's the original paper where she like wrote her name, cell phone, and email down. She bought like 2 of my products. And then so then finally like they released her list, because they'll freeze the list, and it was like a nightmare for her. She like lost control for like a week or 2 just because of this one person.
That's crazy. People are crazy, man. Yeah, and I actually just had that happen to me too. Maybe about a month ago. I should have taken a screenshot, because I totally remember you telling me that story about the first time that it happened. Yeah, dude. Like, there's this one guy. I can't remember his name. God damn it! Should have kept those emails. It's for like some type of investment company that he runs, and I'm like, there's no ways I would sign up for anything like this.
Yeah.
But then when I unsubscribed, it was one of the ones where it didn't tell you how you got on the list.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, do you want to subscribe and you want to mark it as spam? I'm like, yeah. I was like, fuck them. Like, I've gotten marked as spam a few times, and it's like, sometimes people are stupid, but sometimes there's just no ways, and it's like, whatever. But I unsubscribe, and then, it's one of the email service providers where like, it immediately unsubscribes you, right? There is no, and here's another thing that pisses me off, where it tells you you'll be unsubscribed. It takes 3 to 5 days to process.
That's not true. I hate that.
Like, what do you mean? You guys got people going through these lists, manually unsubscribing them. So I unsubscribe, and then like I don't remember, like maybe like a week later, I get another email from them as if nothing happened.
Wow.
And I was like
re-added you in.
No, well, see, like that's where I get confused, because it's like it's been for so long, and then I just totally forgot about it, and I see the email again. I'm like, I swear to God, I unsubscribed from this. I know I did. I must have, because I don't read this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I hate? Like, I wish they would not do this. The ones I hate more, because I don't like it when I like it to be easy, right? If someone, that's the whole reason I'm willing to give you a shot and jump on your list, is because I know all I have to do is click unsubscribe, and the really good ones will just make, oh, you're unsubscribed. Oh, if you click this on accident, just click here and you're back on. And then like the ones that are like almost as good as like, hey, are you sure you want to unsubscribe? And you're like, yeah, I do. Like the ones I hate when it's like, hey, here's like the 12 lists they have you on. Which ones do you want to unsubscribe? Go click them. But the ones I like that literally make me so mad, I want to like throw, because it's normally when I'm on my phone that I go and I start like unsubscribing. I want to just throw my phone against the wall. It's the ones that like you click on unsubscribe, it says, please contact the sender of these emails to ask to be removed from the list. And I'm like, if I ever find, I want to go Liam Neeson, right? It's like, listen to me, like I will find you. I have a particular set of skills, Like that makes me so mad. Like I don't care. I will jump. I'm kind of like a list slut in that sense. Like as long as it's halfway interesting, because I know I can get off of it, right? And I will normally give a person, because I've had a lot of times where they start sending me emails and they're annoying and I don't like them. And then like a month later, they send an email, and like I'll get an email. I'm like, I'm going to unsubscribe, but I'm in the middle of whatever. I don't care right now, and I'm going to do it. Like the next time they email me, I'm going to unsubscribe them. And then they email me, and it's like really good email. And then I end up liking them. And what I find is sometimes it takes me a few weeks to get to know their personality, or just to get to where I trust them, And so like I'm very, very lenient with this, but I hate when it's hard to unsubscribe. If you make me work to unsubscribe, I'm probably going to report you as spam, because, and then I'm also pretty lenient. Like I don't like to report as spam if there's any chance, like I did opt into this, like I don't think it's right. Like even if they are sending too many emails, I don't think you should report them as spam if you opted in the right way. You just don't like their flavor, right? Like, maybe, they send an email every single day and I wasn't expecting that, and I really don't find these that valuable after all. That's cool, but like you should report them as spam if you actually opt in the list, because that's kind of messed up. But anyways, the whole point of all of this is like the thing that bothers me. So like with your guy, like what probably happened, because like I can go to my list, because I have both a MailChimp account, which I'm phasing out, and I have the new active campaign, which thank you so much for recommending, because I would have never.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah, and I would have never found them on my own because their marketing sucks. Like their whole like, and even like their outside like wooing you is horrible. Like it looks very clinical and like very like enterprise, and I would have never ever even given them a try. And then once I actually like got in, it was like the light, the clouds parted and the light came down. It was like the best thing I've ever used. It's probably like my favorite piece of software right now. So thank you, because like I said, like I was looking at going to like Drip, which is similar, but like $50 a month, so it's more expensive to do the same thing. And then I was using MailChimp, which they're pretty. I love the whole little monkey tells you little jokes, and you can click on videos and stuff like that. But they just didn't have the functionality. Like even with the paid version, you know, like the autoresponder stuff just wasn't nearly as intuitive versus the one you found. So I have both of those right now. But the whole point, right? Because I can look on there and I can see people who unsubscribed, and I could export that list and I could bring them back in, which is probably what happened to you. Is the guy probably every month or every week exports the list of everyone who unsubscribed and re-adds them, which is not smart. Because we had this conversation the other day. Like the whole point of having an email list isn't to have a big list. It's to have like customers that you can sell to, right?
A targeted list.
Exactly. So that's like I was saying before. I'd rather have 100 Facebook friends who loved me and respected me as peers, who would share my stuff, versus 1,000 who were like, are just like, sure, I'll add him because he's into, you know, comic books, for that example. And I did that. Like, that's why I use that as an example, because when I first got started, back to when you were selling me AppSumo products with your amazing copywriting, one of my ideas was I had a thing I was doing that was targeting like people interested in like comics, and specifically like comic book artists. And so I got my friends list because I was like really lean. I'd always go through and delete it out, and I'd keep my list like to like less than 150 for our friends. And I got it up to like 600 or 800 people. Like I actually got banned by Facebook a couple of times. Not like banned, but like suspended, because they're like, you're adding too many people at one time. So you must not know all these people. So you're not allowed to use your Facebook for like 2 weeks. You know, I had to happen twice because I was like adding all these people. And I didn't know. I was just getting started, right? Like I didn't know there was all this stuff like in these rules, and I was just like, I want to make friends with these people. I want to talk about comic stuff, and they're gonna like my stuff. It's very naive when I first started. But it didn't do me any good, because I got up to, like I said, like around 800. I think it could have been like 6 something, but I think it was like around 800 for a while and change. And I only had less than 150 of like family and real friends. So that's like the majority of that was all people who were interested in the same field, but because I had no relationship with them, I just liked them or friended them, and then expected like every time I put out, I was doing like interviews with artists and I was doing like podcast episodes. I'd put them out there and I'd expect them to engage with it because they like comic book stuff. What I didn't realize is they are also trying to promote their thing. They have 10 other friends who are needing help promoting their thing. And I had no relationship with them. So who are they going to spend their time to promote? Like me, who they don't know, some guy who friended them, or like the person who actually is taking time to help them out and build that relationship? And that kind of goes to what you were saying, is like, who are you? Like, I don't know you. It's the same thing if it's an email list, if it's a social network. Like, if you're trying to use it to build an audience and, you know, get leads and everything, you have to, in my opinion, so not only do you have to be targeted, you have to know your message. Like, that's why I said, like, I only post, you know, a certain amount of things, because I've realized if I start to get out of that, like, I made the decision to not use Facebook just as a personal thing. Like, my wife is 100% personal, and she posts so many pictures of family, which is one of those joke things. They'll see like the different types of Facebook, the knowing Facebook people. She has no problem with it. And she's very transparent about like, I feel like I have to photo document the lives of my children. So if you are friends with me, you are going to end up having like a ton of this. And she, you know, like, and so people just know, and a lot of people who love it. And if not, but that's what she decided to use it. I've decided to use mine, obviously, for business reasons and relationships. So at that point, like, I don't go off onto like random tangents, because I know that's basically putting noise out to my network. And I don't want to do that, because then I lose influence, obviously. So you have to really decide what you're going to use it for. And then you also have to just realize how you're going to talk. You know, you have a certain voice develop. Did you? I'm getting like a really bad echo. Did you like unplug headphones or something?
No, but it's coming from you.
No, I know it's my voice. Hold on. How about now?
Better.
Okay. It must have. Oh, there it is. Okay, you have to talk the rest of the show, man. You gotta carry it.
Why? What's going on?
I hear a really bad echo. You don't hear it?
Not anymore, no.
Okay. Well, I can hopefully ignore it. So as long as you guys don't have to hear it. Okay. Anyways, let's jump over you and get your response on that whole thing of, because you may have the opposite. You may be like, no, social networks should only be used for actual. So that's what I used to hear all the time. Is social networks are supposed to be used for like people you know in real life, and I disagree with that. I feel like I have developed new relationships. So what's your take on the whole social network marketing type thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, like for my personal page or or personal account, like I guess I like on my timeline, like I like sharing photos of like the kids and like personal life and things like that. But like all the business marketing related stuff, like I join the groups and I post there. Like it's segmented, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think social media or networks is meant for only people in real life. Like I've met plenty of great people online, I've actually it's kind of embarrassing, but before online dating was a thing, I was online dating. Like
chat rooms or forums?
No, like what I don't know if you ever heard of Find a Pics.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of the original social networks. Anyways, it was like way before Facebook and MySpace and all that.
Was it around the time of like Friendster?
Yeah. Like Friendster, Find a Pics. There was a few others. There was like Asian Avenue. That was like a really old one.
Yeah, I used to be on that one. No.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh, no, it's not like a porn site.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not Asian. Like, would I even be allowed in?
Yeah.
Okay.
To find an Asian friend.
Actually, that makes sense because honestly, in high school, like that was the thing. Like, in fact, my wife will even like make jokes about that. She's like, "What is it with like young white guys who are all obsessed with getting an Asian girlfriend?"
They're so exotic. Oh my god.
Okay, we're way off topic now.
Yeah. No, I don't really have much of an opinion on social media. As far as like what I don't like is like on Instagram or Twitter, like just the spam bullshit comments. And it's like I'm posting pictures of my kids, and then I get like a comment on Instagram like, oh blah blah blah, like they say like some random stuff like, and then I go to their Instagram account and it's like, oh, message me to find out how you can get 50 free followers. And they're all the same. Like you sounded
your mic just started doing the whole fuzzy thing.
Well, you're gonna have to deal with it.
Are you using your headphones or are you using your Blue Yeti?
No, I'm using the Apple headphones.
Oh, okay. You don't have your nice microphone right now?
No, because you guys kept complaining that it make fuzzy sounds.
Well, now I'm complaining that these headphones are making fuzzy sounds.
Maybe it's your headphones, man.
No, because Mike hears it too.
No, Mike is just delirious. Traveling too much.
Yeah, too much driving. Too much paleo. Okay, so we've talked about obviously the different social networks. We talked about how you need to like use it personally. I do like what you said about how you use the groups because I've actually noticed like I was doing a lot of like business entrepreneur like related stuff on my timeline, and then once we created the Entrepreneur Roundtable, like I've noticed like my timeline posts have like dropped like way down. Like I hardly post anything now, because the majority of the things I say business related have gone into the community that we've created. Like I'm putting most of my time into providing value for other community members, and honestly I just don't have the time because like I will log in to like Facebook. Used to I'd have 1, 2, maybe 3 notifications. Every now and then I'd have like 6 or 8. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And it's like, oh, someone's like my grandma got on and liked everything. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then now I get on and it's like I'll get on an hour after like I had just been on. So it's not like all day and then I'd have like 3 or 4, Now I'll get on like an hour after I've just been on. I'll have like 10, 15, or whatever. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Does someone just like everything? And it's like, well, no, it's like there's other stuff, but the majority of it, like probably 60% of it is stuff from the group. You know, oh, so and so's mentioned your name in the Entrepreneurs Roundtable. So and so posted in an Entrepreneur Roundtable. They replied. So then I'm like, I go in, I'll spend like a half hour just like liking and replying, and then like copy and pasting links to answer questions, or typing out big, long, like helping people with stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired, I'm done. And then the next time I come back to just like leisurely use Facebook, I've got like another 10 notifications. So it's funny because I used to like watch training videos or webisodes. What am I trying to say? Webinars. And, you know, they'd show their Facebook account and they'd show like 6 friend requests, 4 messages, like 36 notifications. I was like, geez, like I don't get 36, barely in a month, not many notifications. Yeah. And now I'm like starting to get that. And I was like, this is exhausting. No wonder every time they take a couple hours to promote their business, like that's why they always have all those notifications. Cause like you have to be on it like every single hour for like 20 minutes to keep, answering everything, or just, and so it's just kind of funny as Entrepreneur Roundtable grows and as, it's picking up more and takes more time.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, I know that the majority of people on my friends list, like posting on my timeline, like nobody really gives a shit about like the business stuff,
Yeah.
So like the only thing I like, really post on there is like I said, like pictures of the kids, what I'm doing, if I'm like making food. Of course, I gotta do like the food selfies. And
you started this about a year ago, huh? I noticed that about a year ago you started doing a lot of those.
Well, I started really learning how to cook.
Oh, okay.
There you go. I got Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Chef, and I was like, I got into this like cooking spree. So like now I'm cooking a lot more. And
I remember when you first started, like a lot of your stuff you made like sounded really gross, and you're like, let's see how this turns out. And you're like, it was all right. And then now you're like, oh, look at this amazing dish I cooked.
Took a long time, man. I do, because like trying to feed my kids, it's fucking hard. Anyways, getting off topic again.
So I want to switch over to, now we kind of just in general social networks. I want to talk about a couple specifically, and a couple maybe strategies that if someone's watching they can use. So I know you said you're not a big on social network, and you've talked about you haven't done a lot of stuff. From what I've seen though, like I know at least for a while you were really using Google Plus, and what kind of made me notice that is because you and Yale Gardner, I remember you guys got in kind of like a fight, not like a real fight, but like playfully arguing back and forth, where she was like slamming Google Plus as being irrelevant, and you're like, no, I've got really good results from Google Plus. And you're like the only person I've ever like actually heard, other than like I've said a few things like one-on-one to some people, but like I've never really heard anyone be like, Google Plus is really good for business. Like it's, and I've heard you say that. So how did that work out for you? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you still use it? And if not, like, what are you using now to kind of, for some of your promotional stuff and for your business stuff?
Google Plus, like, I know a lot of people hate on it, but a lot of the tech and business people are on there, so it's more of like, not so much like I don't feel like it's a social network, but as far as it's like a step above Facebook in terms of your network, and a step below LinkedIn. So
how do you mean? How do you mean like a step above? Like in what ways is it above Facebook?
So Facebook is really meant for connecting with like friends and family, right? I mean, for the most part, like that's college, your alumni and things like that.
Yeah.
So Google Plus is kind of like a step above that, to where it's like you use Facebook for friends, family, classmates, coworkers. You use Google Plus for like business networking, marketing type stuff. And then there's like LinkedIn, where it's like super professional, right?
Yeah, so but see, LinkedIn is like really focused on that, except the fact there's not a lot of like social. It's like the unsocial social network.
Well, I mean, if you had to looked at LinkedIn as a social network, it would like Google. I think Google Plus kind of fits between Facebook and LinkedIn, as like a kind of happy medium between sharing your stuff and work and things like that, and building an audience. But the thing is, it started to feel more like a chore than Facebook does. So like on Facebook, it's more addictive. You get on there, you can write responses, you can provide value, you can help people. Google Plus, it's like you can, but then people that you meet on there is super random. Like I'm still getting people adding me to their circles, like to this day. Like, and I don't even go on there. I haven't been on there for like, or posted on there for more than a year or two.
The one thing that I've noticed is there's a lot of, because of Hangouts, like, so there's a lot of, you know, that's really the only thing. Like, I haven't used it a lot, really. Like, I would just copycat my posts, you know, where like if I was using an app, I'd have them also go there. But like, I don't really use it now except for Hangouts. And so like, you know, I log in, you know, once or twice a week because of that to set them up and whatnot. Actually, I set them up through YouTube, but so I don't use it as much. But that's the thing I always like. The only thing I really check is I don't really look at my profile. I don't really look at other people's profile, but I'll look at the Hangouts, and there seems to be just a ton of people, you know, like all the way from business to just a group of guys getting together, play video games, and they just don't care to make it private. They'll just, you know, leave it public, even though they have no intention of really having a crowd. Like, I watched one that was actually pretty entertaining with these two kids. I'm trying to think of, I don't know, they were hysterical though. Like, they got on there and it was like their first time, and they, for some reason, right? So like, we're trying to do business stuff, and we like, you know, you struggle trying to get an audience. These kids like had a group of people watching. It was like the first time they just logged in and did it. And when I say little kids, I mean like probably like 7 and like 9 or something. These two little brothers, and they're just being goofy, right? And they're like making fun of each other, and like they were doing the little party hats and stuff, and they're like trying to like, you know, do all kinds of stuff. And I probably watched it for like a good 5 minutes just because it was so funny. And like, I remember when I logged on, like I was like, what is this? And the headline looked funny, so I'm like, okay, it's their first one, like I'll log in and see what they're doing, you know, like I know how exciting that is. And like when I first got on, they're like, oh crap, someone's watching now, like oh, someone can see. And then they started whatever, and then as more and more people added on, they were kind of forgot there was anyone even watching. But it was just funny just to see the variety of, you know, like, just
as more and more of the online predators were casing.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying them specifically. I'm just saying like the variety. I was giving that as a random example of like, you know, because I remember doing stuff like that as a kid with my sisters, but it was not on the internet. It was like webcam. Right? We got the little and it was literally like the ball. It was like an eyeball. Yeah. You could like twist the zoom, you know, and we'd put it up and we'd like do funny stuff. And we had the same things like the little games where you could like wear hats and stuff. And there was even games where you could like direct stuff. So we'd be like playing volleyball, you know, like by the motion.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it wasn't online. So that one cracked me up as I saw these two kids. It was like, I was doing that like 20 years ago, except for it wasn't streaming on the internet, like you said, for weirdos or whatever, or just whatever. But it was hysterical.
Well, so. You know, I just thought about like the Google Plus is really good for like really niche down communities, or like if you're really interested in like people are like I don't know, I'll just take like oil paintings, right? Like there's pretty, you know, a lot of big communities around that you can like connect with. So that's like one good thing about it, as opposed to like Facebook. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of harder to find communities within Facebook, like on your own.
Well, I think it's because there's so many people are trying to use Facebook to promote themselves, and not that many of them know the concept of like providing value. Like Neville can promote anything he wants because he's earned that, right? Like his stuff I don't know, maybe you have a different opinion, but I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying maybe. Like, I don't want to speak for you. His stuff is good, and he spends a lot of time. So even though his free content technically is marketing material to try to like, that's how you should do that, right? Like that's why in our group I had to post that the other day about you know, hey, we're getting a little too promotional, and what I was really thinking is we're getting a little too spammy, right? Because like Mike even messaged me. He's like, hey man, like, hopefully he doesn't care I say this, but like, you know, sometimes I'm not the most aware. Like, am I one of the ones? Because he had been posting a bunch about his stuff. But I was like, no, man, like your stuff is like awesome. Keep doing it. Because the difference is, even though first off, he's on the freaking show. Like he gets to promote his stuff, right? Like he's on the show all the time. That's why I was messing with you. I'm like, seriously, get it? Like, you just need some attention right now. Okay, let me tell you how awesome you are. Like, obviously you're a host of the show. Come on. But even still, like, we use discretion. Like, look at how many times I've promoted something that I've been doing in there. That I can think of. I don't think I've ever actually posted, hey, here's some landing page, go check it out. And so Mike has a lot, and so he was asking me, but the difference is like his is still, I consider, content, because even though he's like sharing some of his stuff, he's not saying, hey, I've got this new diet thing for paleo diet or paleo challenge for entrepreneurs. He's like, hey, so here's what I've been working on. He'll like list out, here's what I've I've been struggling with. I finally got this done. So this is now done. What do you guys think? And then like a conversation breaks out, right? So there'll be like 40 something comments on there. And then like never fails, someone will be like, this thread's amazing, because everyone's helping each other because he's got a lead page issue. And then everyone's jumping in with either like, here's how to fix that. Here's how I do this. Oh, here's a link to an example of what I did to do it this way. And everyone's like, it turns into like these little mini communities. Like you can almost print these out and make them like little mini like training manuals, like they're really good content. And he's never just been like, hey, here's my thing, wink, wink, go sign up for it. And even if he has, when he does show it, it came after days of like, hey, I'm trying to work on something. I'm having an issue with this. And then multiple of those conversations. And then he finally is like, hey, here's the landing page. Tell me what you think. So he's not just like, get on my landing page. It's like he'd almost be robbing the community if he didn't do that, because they've helped him multiple times in multiple threads throughout the last week or so. So like they want to see the final product. They want to be like, oh, that looks so awesome. Like, that's great. And then like feel some pride. Like, man, this guy would have never got this set up if it wasn't for us.
Yeah.
And so that's different versus like if people are just like, hey, here's my thing. I've got a new course on this. And so that's why like I posted that. But it's that whole concept that I feel like so many people don't understand, like about providing value, like, and how much freedom you get when you do provide value. But it's like you can get away with so much. Like you can go in a group that's like absolutely no promotion. And if you do it the right way, you can promote yourself, and you can even get like the person who created the group like responding and even signing up for your stuff. But it's all about like providing value. You get to that point where, you almost feel like, oh, I want to give you my email address just because this was so good. And I got so much, like I've been on landing pages where like I felt like I've actually taken notes, like without even opting in. It's like, okay, I feel like I've learned a lot from this. I have no intention in buying your $997 course, but I'm going to opt in anyways because I want to give you more chances to pitch me on something else you're doing because I got so much value from this. And like, that's big, right? If someone feels like I already have what I need from you, but I'm going to give you my information anyways so you can pitch me later on down the road, because at some point you're going to probably have something I want to buy, or if nothing else, I'm just going to learn from your emails and they're so entertaining and inspiring. That's when you know you're doing well. And that's when you know you can like start putting your stuff out and like people are not going to be reported as spam, or people aren't going to be opting off your list because it's good, versus like I'm just going to shout out, I'm doing this, hey, check this out. And that's what I hate.
Yeah, it's I think the hard part about that is that providing value without asking for anything in return, like that's playing the long game. And we're so short on our like attention span and like wanting everything now. It's like, I have this offer, I need to put it out there. So you just shoot out, your offer, and it's like, hey, I got this thing, it costs $50. You can check it out here. And it's like, why? Like, why do I want to check it out? Like, what is this going to do? Like, what is it? What's it for? Like, how does it work? Like, I got questions, right? Like, I don't want to spend my time like checking out this landing page. And I'm like, not so much. No, don't really want it. Yeah. I've got other things to say on that, but I probably shouldn't say it on the show.
Really? Now I'm intrigued. Like things that could be incriminating against you, or things that would be like negative about like other people you don't want to like speak out against, or what?
Yeah, we'll just talk about it later.
Okay. As long as I get a note. Yeah. I'm going to write like a book later, like the things that Mike, the guest host, told me off of the air. No. With that, and then I want to move in because we got about 15 minutes left, and I do want to talk about Periscope, which is obviously a new platform. But real quick, kind of what you said, because you made that comment about playing the long game. I think it really, it's a skill. So like when I first got into the film, like we learned the diagram of like there's a triangle, and it's like speed, quality, and price, and it's like, or fast, good, cheap is I think the first time I saw it, and it's like pick two. And like you can't have both. You can't have a Hollywood film for really cheap and super fast. Like if you want it fast, it's going to be $200 million, which is why the movies cost that much. If you want to spend your entire life, doing it for all on your own, yeah, cool. You can make like a Hollywood movie maybe, but you're going to like literally be like your life's work because you didn't spend the money.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing when it comes out. Like you talk about like the long game. That's true. But I think the more you put into quality, I think it shortens that life cycle. So, like for example, because Neville will do these things, and I almost wish I do wish I could like have a conversation with him. I would love him actually. If you guys watch this, and everyone go email Neville and tell him to come on the show because I would love to talk about this. He puts so much stuff. Like his posts lately have basically been ebooks that he sends out as an email. It's so much to the point where like I can't even keep up with all of them. Like I have to pick which ones are relevant to me because they're just like so long. They're like 20-page ebooks if you print them out, and there's so much detail and so many examples. And then at the end of them, he'll ask you generally to do something like, you know, like I don't, if someone says, oh, reply to this email, like I don't do that. Like I don't, maybe I will click a link to go check out your offer. And if it's like a free guide or something, maybe I will get that. And then, you know, over the next 3 months, you have a chance to sell me something. Like I said, if, you know, so that's, like you said, that's a pretty long process. But Neville, like generally, probably 4 out of 5 times, if I read one of his entire emails and he asks me to do something, I will probably do it. Like I will like close it out and be like, no, I don't really respond to stuff. And I was like, you know what? That was amazing. Like, and I'll go back into the email and I'll do it. So if he says, email this to 2 friends, I have. Like he's been like, hey, respond. Like I never reply to someone. He'll be like, oh, reply with the whatever. And like every time he said that I've read it, I've replied to him because of his stuff is just so good. Like I feel it's almost like it has its own gravitational field, right? You know, like when your content's that massive, you know, it can suck you in. So I think that you can shorten that, but it's hard because most people aren't willing to spend, you know, 30 hours to write one email. And most people would rather spend 3 hours to write one email and let them have that, you know, that the numbers game, and maybe 3 months later they end up buying something, you know.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not only that, but you know, he spent a lot of time building his audience and making it himself and stuff like that. So it's like you're gonna have to. You could put in the time, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like he obviously didn't just start overnight, and he, you know, but still, like he's, I think, the kind of the poster child for like over investing in content and free content, and you know, hoping it comes back to you later on. And obviously, he's still around, so obviously something's working.
Yeah,
like I haven't seen him. This is the other thing that confuses me about him, because in the beginning it was pretty cut and dry. Like he quickly, you know, he had the whole House of Rave, and he quickly figured out I can make more money making products because he had Noah's audience. Like, you know, he was able to put his courses, he was best friends with Noah, so he's able to get them on AppSumo. And, you know, at the time, I think AppSumo had like, you know, 200,000 or something, whatever. I don't know the exact numbers. They had a lot, so he could sell, and I bought almost everything he did. And so it made it pretty easy. But now, like, he's not very like bold in his offer. Like used to, he was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and so I made this course and you should buy it. And it was clear. You'd click on the link, you'd go to AppSumo, and you'd buy his course. Now he's doing all this content stuff, and like it's not like he's specifically saying, okay, so now that you've read all this, go buy my such and such. Like I know obviously he has certain things. He still has his courses. You know, he's got like, you can hire him at certain points if he's doing it. You can hire him out to, you know, chat about your copy and stuff like that. But he's like very indirect right now. Lately, I've been noticing for a while, like where he's putting out way more quality and free stuff than he used to, and he's asking way less than he used to. So I'd be really interested to know like where the majority of his money is coming from, and like if he's noticed like doing that, if he's making more money now, or if it's like, yeah, it's kind of flatlined, but I don't care as much because I have plenty of money coming in from my other stuff. I just really want to provide content. Like I'd really be interested in like seeing, like hearing him talk about like what he's doing and like where he's how it's working for him, because you know, because I think the danger is sometimes people will go, oh, this is what Neville's doing, so I need to do that too because he's successful, so that must be where his success is coming from, when in reality it could be he's like, I have more money than I need right now, I just really, you know, want to write a bunch of stuff. I think maybe I'll write a book, so let me start writing these really long articles, and when I find one that really resonates, I'll then go back and turn it into a book. And maybe he's making very little money off of them. So if you just copy that, because of that, like you don't know what his thing is. So I think we get in danger of that a lot of times, of just copying what someone else is doing, not knowing if they're actually making money off of that, or if it was a failed thing, or if it was just something they wanted to do because they like it. So
yeah, that was something something about that where it's like you can model after somebody, but you should like pick only a couple things to model off of instead
Yeah.
of like their entire like personality or like everything that they're doing. And then also like trying to reverse engineer like a sales funnel or something like that. Like you don't know if it's actually made any money or not. You know, you don't know what the real sales are, the real numbers behind it. So like it could be a total flop, but then it just seems like a success, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And actually Chris Howard, I think I learned that kind of from him, you know, when we both were working at that mutual company that we worked at.
Yeah. That mutual company.
When I was recording backups of a lot of his webinars, he talked about that. He's like, he talked about modeling, but he's like, you have to know the numbers because you can't just model off of, you know, what you think it is. And he gave the example of, I think, Tony Robbins, and I may mess up numbers here, so just assume this is a broad paraphrase. But he was like, you know, out of the millions of dollars that Tony Robbins was making, he actually paid like the money, like the 20 grand or whatever it was, or maybe it wasn't that much, to get like the actual numbers, you know, from I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was able to see the financials. And so he was able to see that, like, because TV was a big thing that Tony Robbins was doing. And so if you were just trying to copy Tony Robbins, you'd be like, oh, I should do TV. Well, it was like 20% of his revenue came from that TV, but it took a lot of his time. But it was because he had an end game, right? He knew where he was going to get, but it wasn't providing very much of his income, but he had a larger strategy. So if you were just wanting to make money and be like Tony Robbins and you invested in TV, you would have lost basically, because you would have been like, oh, I'm not making that much money from this, and what's going on, because you didn't really do your homework, and it wasn't something that was true to you, you know, and your audience. To that point, you kind of really do have to, you know, keep true to what you're doing. So for example, when I first, you know, when we both left that mutual company and I launched, you know, Biz Dev Heroes, I was kind of, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm going to try a bunch of stuff. And so I was doing like daily videos. I was doing all like this Facebook strategy thing, formula. And I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. I started this podcast or this hangout, and I was all over the place. And at first, you know, it was really fun. But then after a couple of weeks went by, I started, like you said, became a chore. So I scaled back. And what I'm really focusing on right now is this, obviously, because I really enjoy this. And I feel like it's, you know, and the community behind it. And then I'm relaunching the Business Hero YouTube show. I only did that one episode, and it was too much for me to do on my own. But I've got a crew now of old film friends and stuff from high school, and some guys I know, to where we're going to be doing it. So like that's going to take a lot of time. But for me, that's what I enjoy, and it's worth the investment to me. So instead of writing a blog every single day and posting a video every single day and doing all these other things and spending hours like booking guests for podcasts because I have a daily podcast or any of that kind of stuff, like I'm taking like 80% of like what I can produce as content and putting it all into a YouTube show. Not because I read something that YouTube is the best way to monetize, but because that's what's really core to me at the end of the day. And then, of course, this show I'm doing because I really enjoy it. It's easy. Like it takes me 10 minutes to set it up, and then it takes me about an hour and a half to do them because we talk before and after. And it provides good value for not a lot of investment. And then the rest of my time is now I'm starting to ramp up my courses, because that's my goal with Business Dev Heroes, is through both free content and paid content, is to teach people how to, you know, various aspects of starting and growing their business. So that's like the three things I'm putting my time in: the actual products and content, this show, because it's giving back, and then the YouTube show, because not only is it's the main channel of teaching, the free channel of teaching, I love it. And even though it takes a lot of work, it's something that really resonates with me and who I am. And so even though a lot of marketers would be like, oh my goodness, all that time, you know, I'm out. Like for me, it's my language. I look at doing blogs that way. Like I read these blogs from Neville, and I'm like, I didn't do that much work in an entire year of English class in high school, and he's doing these like every 2 weeks or every week. It's like, that's not my thing. I'd rather spend the time doing this video.
Yeah, dude, I feel the same way with blogs too, man. Like I hate writing blogs, dude. It just makes me so dead, and like it's not fun or inspiring or motivational at all to like write blog posts.
Yeah. And I remember when I was first getting started, I had a coaching session with Brian Harris, and, you know, blogs has been his thing. That's like how he built his audience.
Yeah.
And again, but that's his thing, just like Pat Flynn, his thing. And so he was like, oh, you need to commit to hitting hitting publish every single Friday. He's like, can you do that? And at first I was like, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to write a blog every Friday. And then I was like, and then the first Friday came and I didn't do it. And then I was like, okay, I need to create a system. I got to come up with a system. Like I remember seeing him post about how he was writing like, 500 words every single morning. And I know at the time you were doing blogs and emails and you were doing something similar where you were trying to write like 2,000 words a morning or something like that. I was like, I need a system. I can't just wait until Thursday night and go, I need to hit publish on Friday. So I started trying to figure that out. And then I was like, you know what? I don't like blogging.
Yeah.
I like writing spontaneously. So I will randomly get on Facebook and write, like, in my opinion, these really witty like responses, especially when people need help. And I'll throw in I'll make up a story and I'll throw in humor and and to me, like, that's how I feel like I'm a good writer, but like, I don't like to have to write, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be like, oh, I'm just putting in like a YouTube video. Oh, all of a sudden I got the writing bug and I just wrote like 1,000 words of copy to get them back to my page. It was really good, but I'm not going to commit to doing this for every single YouTube video.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize, like, no, instead of spending that time to do blogging, I'm going to just spend that time to invest in YouTube episodes, because at the end of the day, like, as much as I love Pat Flynn and the success that Brian's had, that's not my thing. I don't even read all their blogs, like, because that's not the way. Like, I know Noah's like, I saw him post the other day. He's like, I'm not huge into watching videos. Well, I am. Like, I'm not huge into reading blogs because I don't have that much time to sit down very often. Like, I love watching and learning through videos. So that's what I need to do. And I know you realize that you're like, I don't like writing blogs. I like writing emails. I don't know if that's changed, but you were like, I'm just going to write emails. I'm not going to worry about having a blog. If they want to hear me write, they need to sign up to my email list and read my emails.
Yeah, pretty much. Still feel the same.
And you need to read his emails because they're amazing. I think the last time I got his email, well, not the last time, but like one of his emails, like, I love his emails. And I remember I responded, I said, like, I never respond to emails. I responded to one of his emails. And again, this is one of those like, oh, I want to write something kind of quirky. And I was like, closes laptop, stands up, begins clapping, and slow with clap. A single tear, slow clap with like, with a single tear coming down his eye. And you were like, I remember you like emailed me back and you're like, dude, that's hysterical or something. But like, I feel like your emails are up there. I feel the same way about your emails as Neville's emails. So like, as much as like, like I said, Pat Flynn, all these guys, like, I don't really read their blogs, but I generally try. And when I get behind, I will go back and read Neville's emails. And I do the same thing with yours. You guys are like the two guys. I do my best to read your emails, but that's your voice. You know what I mean? You're not just doing it because that's what someone said to do. And I think that kind of will wrap this up with this whole thing, like social networking, all this kind of stuff. Like, what works for you? Because if you're trying to do Facebook or Google Plus or any of these and it doesn't fit you, it's not going to fit you. And then you're going to get poor results because people are, they're not going to resonate because you're trying, just like me trying to do blogs, or someone like Pat Flynn or someone who is a blog guy trying to do the type of video that, like I'm going to try to do. Like, they would be like, oh man, this is too much time to learn this editing stuff. And this is not fun. And even if I can do it, I don't enjoy this. It takes too much time.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be into like making videos, it's just not my thing. And then like, to like kind of finish that off, it's pick one channel, just one, and put all your time and effort into that one channel until like you build it up, Mm-hmm. And it goes along the line with like, so like, if you looked at your life and business in terms of like just having that singular focus or just on the number one, you pick one industry, you pick one topic, you pick one lesson that you want to teach, just pick that one channel, like whatever it is, like just have like a, like one big idea behind it and what it is that you want to convey, or like have the reader or viewer or whoever that you're talking to, like some new idea or thought that they didn't have before, and have them take away that, and you're way better off doing that rather than kind of confusing your audience with like multiple thoughts and lessons and all that stuff.
Yeah. So now I know in the show notes, I want to wrap up with that because that was really good. We talked about talking about Periscope, but while we were talking, not only did we run out of time, We were supposed to have a guest host who is, I don't know if anyone can really be a Periscope expert at this point because it's literally only a few months old. But, he's one of the guys who I guess if you're going to have Periscope experts, would be a Periscope expert. Plus, we have a couple other people. Like I know we had Sarah Moore on here a couple episodes back, and she's gotten, not from what she said, but just because I can see how much she's Periscoping, and I've watched some of them, and she's like really taking to it and doing a really good job. So I think we should do a Periscope roundtable where we'll just invite multiple people. So not only us, but I'll invite Sarah, the guest who was supposed to be on today, Jay. We'll have him come back. We'll figure out whatever technical issues he couldn't get on. And I don't know, maybe I'll reach out to Kim or Luna or something, some other people who are really big in Periscope. And we'll just have, because that's what everyone's asking about right now. Everyone's talking about it, how to use it best. Like Mike, I was watching him the other day using it on the road. He's like, what? So I was sitting there just like, because so there's the hearts, right? So I'm just sitting there tapping like the hearts. It's over and over and over and over. So there's like all these hearts like fluttering up, and he's like, what are these hearts? What does this mean? So like, and there's even the question I've heard asked like 100 times, and I haven't found, maybe it's been said now, but it's like everyone assumes that the hearts like boost you in rankings, but like I've not actually read that or heard anyone confirm that. So there's a lot of questions and a lot of stuff going on about it. So I think that we'll try to do that either next week or the week after. We'll try to schedule that where we get a lot of Periscope experts and users in, and we'll talk about Periscope and we'll even do like a little round, like maybe we'll do a game at the end where it's like we'll pick an industry, and then everyone has to go around and give an example of how that could be, how you could use Periscope in the industry. And we'll pick a few. That'll be kind of fun. Almost like I've been watching too many of these HGTV game shows, like cooking game shows with my wife. So I'm like, we'll have a game show round at the end where everyone has to come up with an answer. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah, we'll do that next time. That'll be really good. And then we also have coming up in next few episodes, we're going to have hot seats with each of us. So we're going to start off with Gideon. So actually, that'll probably be next week, and then maybe the week after that, we'll do the Periscope thing. We'll figure it out. We're going to have a hot seat with Gideon where we just, me and Mike, and then you can send in questions too, where we're just going to ask him all kinds of questions about email and email marketing. And they're going to be good questions too, because like I consider myself, pretty good with email marketing. But when I have a question, where do I go? I either one of two things. I either email Gideon and say, how do I do this? Or I message Mike because I just saw him message Gideon of how to do it. So basically, like I said, I would consider myself like above average when it comes. I actually did that for a while with my marketing business where I help people set stuff up, but still I go to Gideon for that. So we're going to have him come in as a hot seat, and me and Mike are going to just ask all these kind of questions. And we're going to go through that with each of us on our prospective topics. So we're starting off next week it was supposed to be this week, but then Mike couldn't make it. So next week we're going to do that with Gideon, and then we'll jump into the Periscope thing when I can get everyone on their schedules. So with that said, everyone kind of knows what I'm up to. So still just, bizdevheroes.com. And then I've got some content on there. I need to update it. I've got my if you click on the email master, it takes you to my course. I will be having new stuff soon, but right now it's kind of the same. So Gideon, why don't you take the last minute or two here to kind of talk about your new service that I think you finally have out, and we can finally give you our money now.
Yeah. So I actually switched hosting not too long ago because my original hosting was about to expire and I just wasn't really happy with it. So I thought I downloaded everything off my old site, and I didn't, as far as the database goes.
Yeah.
So I lost all that stuff.
Oh, like your site and everything?
Yeah, like the blog posts, the comments.
Oh, that sucks.
And all that. So I'm starting over.
With your website? Okay, so you don't have anywhere to send people then, is what you're saying.
Well, you can still go to gideonwalker.com and sign up, subscribe if you want to get on the list. But
you didn't lose your email list though, because that's through an email service provider, correct?
Right. Yeah. So that's fine. It's just everything else is gone.
Well, but a lot of people will be watching this later on or listen to this as a podcast later on, and they'll still be able to. You'll have everything up by then. You'll have new comments. So, what was it you were posting? You're talking about in the Entrepreneur Roundtable. You have an email service that people can actually.
Oh, yeah, that was just kind of like a test offer. Like I just want, so I was reading Neville's thing too, but his consulting as a side business thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, screw it. Like I'll try it out. And so what I did was I put out an offer saying like, you know, I'll edit one of your emails to increase the open and click-through rates like above your average, right? And then and I guarantee it. And if I don't, then I'll edit it again until it does, right?
Okay.
So $75 per email is what I'm shooting for, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Which
I'm still setting that up though.
Yeah, that's a really good deal because I remember, I think it's way higher now, but I think when Neville first started doing something kind of similar where he would like go through your copy, his was more limited. I think it was like 20 minutes or something, and he'd go through and he would kind of
he would do it with you, right? Like on
well, no,
Skype.
that was different. That was a lot more. But like the lowest one he did, and I don't even know if he still does this, but the last time I saw it had jumped up quite a bit in price. So he had that consulting where it was like $250 or whatever. You could sit down for like 20 or 30 minutes or whatever it is, and on Skype, and you could actually go through your copy line by line and he'd help you rewrite it. But he had another one when he first, kind of like you're doing, you're just experimenting, where he was doing it to where it's like you would send him your copy, whether it be like an email or a landing page, and he would do, I think, like one read through, and as he would read through it, he would like make notes and stuff, or maybe he'd rewrite it once or something. But it was a lot more limited to where it was like I'll rewrite it like once, and then you have to pay extra if you want more revisions. But no, that's cool because that's really awesome. Because if you have a list of, a decent list, and you're like, oh, I have this offer and I don't want to screw it up, like it, $75 to have a professional email copywriter to make it so that way you have a higher open rate and you have a higher sales rate. Like depending on what your price point is, like even if you have a super low product, like $40, you sell 2 of them and you've made your money, but you've actually profited off of having Gideon do it. So
all right.
Super awesome.
So that's what I got.
Cool. All right. If you haven't done it already, go join our group. You can either look in the show notes of most of these and find the link. You can click right on it and request to join Entrepreneur Roundtable, or you can just be lazy or not lazy. I don't know which one would be more work, and go to Facebook and actually just search in Entrepreneurs Roundtable and ask to join. Or you could be really lazy and you could just like message me or like post on my wall and be like, hey, how do I get in the group? And then I'll probably like delete it because, like Gideon said, it's like, who is this? What are they doing? But yeah, join the group because that's where the secret sauce of the show is. And as I said that, I'm thinking of like what Mike would have said, like to make that sound perverted or something, because he always has that right at the end, like my closing lines. He always has to find something wrong with what I said. Okay, I think that's it. Anything else you want to say before we log off here, man?
No, I'm good.
All right. Go check out Gideon's stuff. Go join the group and have an awesome day.